Welcome to Gateway Learning Center. I'm your tutor, Chandanathan. So in this video, we're going to look at under biology. We'll look at where we ended from excretion. Now, this segment will only discuss the following things: excretory product, also the excretory organs, and the processes involved to excrete these products of excretion. Apart from this, we'll also look at the kidney machine, then also kidney transplant. So this is what we're going to cover in this video. So let's start with the excretory products, again of course with the organs. So under the excretory product, we are going to discover that the metabolic reactions which takes place in the body when oxygen is absorbed during respiration, the process of respiration will also produce what we call the products, which can be useful externally or internally, but at the same time, some of the products will be harmful once they accumulate. So for example, if we talk about carbon dioxide, CO2, carbon dioxide is the respiratory product which is produced once the body gets energy from the food substances. Then the organ which will be responsible for the excretion of this carbon dioxide, now the organ will be the lungs. So carbon dioxide will be excreted during the process of gaseous exchange, and then the process that helps or that facilitates this gaseous exchange in the alveolus, in the lungs, is what you call now, so this is what you call diffusion. So diffusion will be the process facilitating the excretion of carbon dioxide into the lungs. Then apart from the carbon dioxide, the other product which is formed during respiration, of course, we know that we have what we call water. So water is also the product which is excreted. All right, now let's talk about another waste product or excreted product. We'll discuss now urea and excess water, excess salts, and so urea, excess salt, and excess water and salt. So these things are also excretory product which are excreted in the outside the body. So the organ which is responsible for the excretion of this is the kidney. So remember last time we talked about the nephron, how urine is formed in the kidney, and what forms urine, these things. Then talked about the reabsorption and the pressure filtration. At the same time, we discussed excretion, how urine is excreted from the kidney. Then we also have the part of bowel. So other excreted product, we have a bile, a bile pigment. The bile pigment. So bile pigment is also the excretory product which is produced by the liver. Now, when bile is produced, when you go back under digestion, you find that in the liver, bile is produced. Then this bile, it has no digestive malfunction, but its function under digestion, we just say it adds color to feces. So bile is produced from the dead red blood cells which are being distracted in the liver. Hence, the byproduct will be the bile pigment. So this bile pigment will be extracted from the body through the feces. Then the skin. The skin is also the organ which is responsible to remove urea, salt, and water. So when talking about the skin is responsible also for urea, salt, and water. So when these things are combined, they're going to form a solution which is called now the sweat. They're going to form sweat. So when you are doing some exercise, then you sweat. Accidentally, you try to taste that sweat in your mouth, then you're going to find that it tastes salty because it contains this salty and urea. So skin is also the excretory product, excretory organ, which excrete these products, urea, salt, and the water. So these are some of the excretory products and organs which are responsible and the processes that are there for them to be excreted. So remember that we have said this urea which is being excreted from the body during the diminution of proteins and amino acid, that is the responsible process, diminution. So diminution is the process which is responsible for the production of urea. Then the kidney will take it up to excrete urea, because when urea accumulates in the body, it will become toxic or poisonous, which can damage the body parts. So this is about the excretory product and organs. Now we can talk about the kidney machine. Okay, so before we before we look much on the kidney machine or the dialysis machine, let us understand why this machine is important and what is its major function when someone is being treated using this machine. So let's look at what you call nitrogenous wastes. So nitrogenous waste is the major function where this kidney works on well. Now we need to understand that when animals eat what you call proteins as well as amino acids in the food substances, this animal will use these proteins and amino acids according to its need. Now, for example, if there is too much proteins or amino acids in the food that someone is eating, this protein and this amino acid will be converted into nitrogen waste. Now, in animals or in mammals, this nitrogen is the one which we call as urea. So here now we discuss either on to say once urea accumulates in the body, it is too toxic such that it will affect the normal operation of the body. So what will happen now is that this urea should be removed um, from the body through the kidney. So when you eat these proteins, when you go back to digestion, you find that proteins will be broken down into their final products, which are amino acid, again, the same things. Now, these amino acids will be produced in the duodenum, the ileum, and as well as in the stomach, they will be produced. Once they are produced, these amino acid will become like now the nutrient, the major nutrients in the body, which will be carried by the capillaries. So when the capillaries carries out these amino acid, different types of capillaries, they're going to join together and take this amino acid in the liver. They're going to be in the liver. So when you are connecting the digestive system and going to the liver, you find that we are going to use that what we call the hepatic portal vein is responsible for carrying amino acid from where they're being produced to the liver. So we are saying that the hepatic portal vein is the one that carries now amino acid from the digestive system and takes it to the liver for its usage. Okay, so having talked about that, we need to understand again that this amino acid, which is very important. Now, this amino acid in excess, amino acid in excess should be removed from the body. Now, for us to remove this amino acid in excess, amino acid cannot be just be removed the way it is. That will be also part of the wastage. So what the body will do is that the amino acid now, this amino acid will be converted or be divided into two parts. One part will be responsible to make energy, meaning that this part which will make energy, it will be converted into carbohydrates by the liver. Then these carbohydrates will be stored. Then the other part of amino acid which contain nitrogen now will be the one which will be excreted out from the body. This energy from the proteins or from the amino acid is the energy the body uses once all the stored glycogen is converted back to glucose when someone is doing the manual job. So the proteins also now start providing energy in this process. So when now amino acid is converted to nitrogen by the process called diminution, then this diminution or urea, which will be produced as nitrogen, will be excreted by the kidney. Okay, so now we can talk about the kidney machine. Okay, so maybe before we look at the dialysis machine of the kidney, let me try to demonstrate or to show how the proteins are digested to produce urea, then urea, how it is being excreted when it dissolves in the blood plasma by the kidney, as well as small amount of urea, you know that it is being excreted by the skin. So if we have this tract as our respiratory tract, then in this tract we have proteins. We have proteins taken from the food in the alimentary canal. Then we discover that these protein molecules at some point will be broken down now. These protein molecules will be broken down here in the alimentary canal to form these amino acid during digestion. Then from here, let's come up with this part. Okay. Okay, so now these amino acids which have been produced from the protein, we need to understand that the amino acid will be now absorbed into the blood and taken to the liver in the hepatic portal vein. So we assume that this part is the hepatic portal vein, which is taking now the amino acid in this direction into the liver. So this one will be now the liver. So these are amino acids which have been taken from the broken down of the proteins, and then they will be changed into the amino acid. Then from the digestive system under the alimentary canal via the hepatic portal vein, this part takes now the amino acid into the liver. Now from here, the amino acids that are needed in the body, they are going to be released into the circulation. So what will happen now is that this amino acid, once they are released into the circulation, it means they are going to come in this direction. The amino acid now have been sent into circulation for its function in the body. Then the excess amino acid which will remain will be converted now back into the carbohydrate. So this part, let's say we put this part here, this excess, you find that we have the excess amino acid here. This ink. Okay. So this part in blue color is the conversion of excess amino acid. So this part will be carbohydrates. We have carbohydrates. Then another excess part here in green color will be now converted to ammonia, which is NH3. So NH3 here is the ammonia. So what we are saying is that at this time now, the first point is that you eat food which contains a lot of proteins. Then those proteins in the food will be digested and broken down to form the amino acids. So these amino acids now at this point, these are proteins. Okay, so these amino acids now at this point in the digestive system will be taken to the liver via the hepatic portal vein. Now when the body has sufficient amino acid, The excess amino acid now will be converted from amino acid into the carbohydrates. Then these carbohydrates, remember that these are energy given substances, they are going to store these amino acid in form of carbohydrate. Then the other part, which is in excess now, will be converted into urea. So this urea now, it's the one which will come now in this direction and comes here. It will dissolve into the bloodstream and then being excreted by the liver. So this excess ammonia will dissolve in the bloodstream, while the usable amino acid will also dissolve in the bloodstream to be distributed to the entire part of the body. So this excess, this urea which has been produced here now, will also dissolve in the blood plasma and taken to the kidney, where it will be excreted. So this is how urea is produced, and then from the proteins, the amino acid, then the amino acid into the liver, the excess will be converted to carbohydrates, then from carbohydrates, the other excess amino acid will form ammonia, then this ammonia will dissolve in the blood plasma and then taken to the kidney, where it will dissolve into excess water and excess salt, as well as glucose before it's being reabsorbed. Then from there, in the nephron, urine will be formed. Then other part of urea, when they form, it will be excreted via the skin. Now we can look at the dialysis machine, how it is used. So under the kidney machine, we'll try to close. The kidney machine is used, or it's a machine that is used to a patient who has the kidneys which are not functioning properly, or they are damaged. Maybe the person has a kidney infection, or was involved in a road traffic accident, or any other physical aspect which can affect the kidney. So for the person to survive, they need to use a kidney machine or a dialysis machine. Now, we have different types of dialysis machine. Today we're going to look at the common one, which is normally used to extract or to clean the blood in the body. So when the person has this problem of kidney failure, or the kidneys are not functioning, are damaged completely, the person should go to the hospital twice a week or 3 times a week, depending on the condition and the type of food the person is eating. Then some few hours each day the person goes to the hospital in order for the blood to be purified. So what we are saying is that how this kidney machine is set up, you'll find that from this is the hand of the person. Now they are going to put the tubes which will insert direct into the veins. So when the blood is coming from the arteries, they are going to form what we call the shunt vessel. They are going to form a shunt vessel here. Here we have a shunt vessel. So this shunt vessel is responsible to transfer blood from the arteries, from this point, going into the veins. Then in the veins, the blood now will flow from the veins going into the dialysis machine. Before the blood enters into the dialysis machine, you find that there is a pump just on the entrance of the dialysis machine. The function of this pump is to ensure that the blood is moving at higher pressure in the dialysis machine than the pressure of the dialysis fluid. So when the blood enters here, then there is also a filter as it is coming outside the machine. So this filter also performs a specific function. Then as the blood is coming toward here, it will again goes into the veins, then goes to the blood to get oxygen or to be um, oxygenated. Now, what the most important things or features on this dialysis machine is that we need to understand the concentration of dialysis fluid. So talk about a dialysis fluid. Now this dialysis fluid, um, which is injected here, it ensures that when the fluid which is when the fluid which is outside there is dirty with the waste product, then they will be taken out from here, then the new one will be pumped in. So this dialysis fluid, we have these tubes, these like stripes here. This is a tube which is within the dialysis machine. So this tube, it is permeable. So the tube is permeable, meaning that it allows some substances to pass through in it and some substances to pass out of it. Now, the solution in this tube contains glucose, salt, and water. The concentration of this solution should be equal to the concentration of glucose, salt, and water in the blood. So why do they balance this concentration? Imagine when the concentration of this solution in the dialysis is lower than the concentration of the blood, meaning that glucose can escape either from the blood into the fluid or from the fluid into the blood, which will make now the imbalances of the glucose in the body. As a result, the other effect can result. You're trying to remove the waste product, but at the same time, the same things you're trying to remove can go back again into the blood. Then salt also should be balanced in the blood. The salt in the blood should be ensured that it is same as the salt in the solution, as well as water. Then when the blood has excess water, that excess water will diffuse now from where there is high concentration to where there is lower concentration into the dialysis machine. Then apart from that, we need to talk about temperature. So the temperature of the machine should suit the temperature of the body, in the sense that when the temperature of the machine is too high, as the blood is passing through the machine, the temperature will eat up that blood, and when the blood goes back into the body, it will affect the normal functioning of the enzymes. Hence, some of the activities of the enzymes will either be denatured or won't be started because of difference in terms of temperature. So temperature also should balance the temperature of the body. So in the blood which is coming from the veins, this blood has high concentration of urea. So because there is high concentration of urea in the blood, and then there is no concentration of or there is lower concentration, in fact there is no urea in the dialysis fluid. Hence, urea will move from the blood where there is high concentration into the dialysis fluid where there is no urea. As a result, urea has been removed and the blood has been cleaned in that process. This is the reason why they make sure that they balance the fluid. Those fluids they don't want to move out from the blood. They put them in the dialysis fluid so that the concentration of those fluids in the blood and the concentration of those fluids in the dialysis machine are equal. Hence, are going to gain the osmotic equilibrium balance of the fluids. Then, once urea is excreted out, then it will come out from here. At that point, the blood has been cleaned, and then it will go back into the veins, then to the heart to get oxygenated. So normally, this is what happens during the blood purification using a dialysis machine. When someone is at this case, the type of food someone should eat will also be recommended. A person should not eat food that contains a lot of proteins, because it is these proteins that are being broken down during digestion, then they are going to form amino acid. Amino acid, which is in excess, will also form urea. So to avoid more production of urea, which should be excreted out during the kidney machine process, purification of blood, the doctors normally they intend or they recommend the type of food someone should eat. Those food that contains a lot of proteins, they try to tell patient not to eat those type of food to avoid more hours of purification of blood on the machine. Then apart from this, if the dialysis machine cannot be affordable because it is too expensive, then they're going to go to another alternative of donating now a kidney, which is called kidney transplant. Now, under kidney transplant, you find that a donor, the person who's going to donate the blood or the kidney to the recipient who is going to receive the kidney, there is the issue of compatibilities. So the issue of compatibility means that if the donor, they will start testing with blood group. If the donor and the recipient, the donor tissue should be compatible. Should be compatible with the recipient. So if the tissues of a donor and the recipient are not compatible, it means the immune system in the recipient will produce the white blood cells, which will now start fighting the tissues of the donor, thinking they are intruders. Hence, the process won't be possible. So the donor and the recipient, the tissue must be compatible. This is a reason why they often prefer to use a relative, because the tissues of our relatives are similar with each other, unlike the person who is not your relative. Then this kidney sometimes can be donated by a person who was involved in a road accident immediately, who was not sick. Then if the kidneys are well, they can donate, then they give you money. So this is about the kidney machine, and we'll discuss more on the kidney transplant next time. Thank you for watching. If you have anything to require or anything I've left out which you wanted to then under the kidney machine, you can leave a comment in the comment section. Then you redo where you are not clear. Thank you for watching. See you next time.